There's many mysteries of the world, and that includes the video game industry. Like, how can you go from this Halo reveal to what we actually got right here? Now, again, I realize that things change and that these companies always offer us something that is sort of sleight of hand. This just happens, right? This is what the world is made of. This is what happens to everybody. You know, they try to get our money, they try to get us to spend money on their products, and so they overpromise and usually underdeliver. And that goes for every company. It's not just a knock on Microsoft. But with that being said, which one was the bigger fraud? What Microsoft showed off in 2019 with Halo Infinite or Cyberpunk 2077? This is going to be a great topic and I can't wait to get into it. It's a video you're not going to want to miss. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crapgamer and this of course is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice all the changes around here, but that shouldn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me and my silly YouTube channel. It really does mean a lot. Now, back when we originally saw Halo Infinite, and this launched actually the original trailer from 2018, right? And we saw that and the slip space engine and you know, I got to admit, like at that particular time, I'm a Halo fan. I'm still a Halo fan, but you know, I'm a huge Xbox fan at this time, and you think, "Oh, wow. What does this mean?" You know, what they're making such a big deal out of the slip space engine. Everything looks gorgeous, the water, you know, you see all these animals on the screen at the same time. You see the vegetation moving. You can see like the light glimmers and reflections and things like that. The textures look absolutely phenomenal. It really does have you thinking, holy cow, what are they going to accomplish in the future here? Because it looks absolutely stellar and fantastic. Halo is definitely in good hands, and we might see the best Halo we've ever seen. Now, fast forward, and that remains to be seen, to be honest with you, right? We don't know if it's going to be the best Halo we've ever seen, but what we do know is that it definitely isn't the best looking Halo that we've ever seen, and it definitely kind of stands to reason why we're in such a situation where the game, despite the amount of money, time, and everything put into it, why does it still look kind of mid compared to what they originally tried to show off years ago? Right? I mean, you're talking, 4 years ago. And it brought to mind a comparison with Cyberpunk 2077. Now, we know Cyberpunk 2077, I don't know really much about the game. I actually have it. A funny story, I game share with my brother, and out of all the, 1,200 games that I have, he's responsible for maybe 6 of them. And surprisingly enough, he was the one that got, he got Cyberpunk 2077 on Xbox, and I've never played it. I figured I'd wait around and play it when they do a next-gen upgrade to it, and give it a whirl. I also picked it up on PlayStation 4 because they did it was like $5 or something at Best Buy, and they gave away a free case with it, like a steel bookcase. So I thought, hey, cool. It might turn out to be a good game eventually, but knowing that the next-gen updates aren't coming till next year basically meant that game probably should have been delayed until 2022 to begin with. But with that being said, it's notorious for being a game that launched ill-prepared for next-generation consoles, and, what we saw in the trailers versus what we got, which I've seen gameplay, and I've looked at various gameplay from, both Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One X as well as PlayStation 5. Although there's no Xbox Series X version or PlayStation 5 version, it still is interesting to go back and look at some of the game footage for last-gen consoles and just see what happens when you play a last-gen game on newer hardware. And there's not a whole hell of a lot that actually changes, but it is very strange to see how what we were promised ended up not being anything like what we got. And it's just such a weird situation. Like, I have to wonder, what do you guys think is the bigger lie? Was the bigger lie the 2018 Halo Infinite scandal situation, or was the bigger lie Cyberpunk 2077? Now, Cyberpunk 2077 got absolutely obliterated in reviews, but what does that mean with other things, right? Like, what does that mean, like, to Halo? Is Halo also going to see, you know, some really bad reviews? I think that's something that everybody will probably want to see, and I'm sure that we're going to get some people that pretend that Metacritic doesn't really matter again. But at the end of the day, I think that, Metacritic is important, and it's always funny because for me personally, like Metacritic, what it is, and people are surprised that I actually will base something I buy on Metacritic a lot of the time, but it's a conglomerate, like a combination of all the scores. So, if something's like a 60 rated score, chances are, and it had 60 reviews, and you're probably not going to find a great game there. Now, if you have a game that's scored in the high 80s or 90s and reviewed by 60 people, then that's probably a good chance that it's going to be a really good game. So while I don't totally trust every review and take every review as the gospel, I still look at reviews as a good way to kind of judge a game, to whether or not I'm going to get it. A good example of this would be with Godfall, right? So Godfall was a game that I thought looked interesting, but once the reviews started coming out, right, I started going, holy cow, this is definitely not something that, I would probably enjoy playing, find out a little bit more about the game, and, it definitely wasn't for me, unfortunately, and that's not to say that it's not for everybody or that works for everybody, but it is just a very interesting situation where, for me personally, it's a good rule of thumb to kind of look over games like that. Now, I think Cyberpunk interests me, Halo interests me, but Halo Infinite doesn't really appeal to me until there is co-op with the multiplayer. I feel like that's like a basic thing for any Halo game, and the fact that it's not launching with that is really upsetting. And I also think that, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. They had all that goodwill with gamers and things like that, only for it to all end up sort of in a bad spot, due to the fact that, at the end of the day, let's just be real here. The game didn't live up to expectations, and I feel like Halo could be the same way. I mean, we're gonna see people were kind of already giving up on Halo a little bit, and now what we've kind of seen with kind of what's going on with these other games, I just think it's a funny situation that we've kind of find ourselves in, where a quality developer, people were saying CD Projekt Red was as good as Rockstar, as good as Naughty Dog, and now they've kind of taken a tumble. And in fact, to be 100% honest with you, another group that's taken a tumble has been Rockstar, given the fact that it's rumored heavily that they actually are in development hell of the next GTA game, which probably explains why we haven't seen one in a very, very long time. But it's always strange to me, and I would love your guys' thoughts and opinions on which game flubbed it the most. Was it Halo Infinite, or was it Cyberpunk? Which one do you think really screwed us over the most and was the bigger fraud? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed my content, consider leaving a like. I would appreciate that as well. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, Crap Gamer 'em up. Crap Gamer out.
Turns out, the same people as always, dropping the facts. It's not cross-gen.